Let's take a look at your newspaper headlines now, 19 minutes before 7 o'clock. So we're taking a look now, firstly, at the front page of this morning's Citizen newspaper. It's got on the front page, of course, the BRICS summit and the three leaders of the BRICS nations on the front page, heading to their names. So there's President Xi Jinping of China, then our President Cyril Ramaphosa and Vladimir Putin preparing to pose for a group picture at the 10th BRICS summit, and also the story, of course, that they are leading with workers win, but ... This has all got to do with labour brokers. Experts warn not much may change following the historic Constitutional Court judgment on labour brokers, which they say may be undermined. So that's the front page of the Citizen. Next one. Mail and Guardian. This is an interesting one and a nice analysis on the Jacob Zuma trial that's coming up. Our former President Jacob Zuma appearing in the Pietermaritzburg High Court today, and the Mail and Guardian focusing in on the option Jay-Z's new legal team may take, and they are saying that there's a good chance the ex-president's new heavyweights will claim he won't get a fair trial. So that is where you'll find the meat of that article in the Mail and Guardian. Stay tuned. We've also got an interview in a short while to discuss that trial with Xolani Dube. He's in our Durban studio. He's a political analyst as well. And the front page of the Star, they've got the picture of all five of the leaders of the BRICS nations. And the big one they're saying is that BRICS wall of unity, call to resist trade war and find solutions to world conflicts, and hitting out at Trump. So there you can see Xi Jinping, as well as our president, India's Prime Minister, Vladimir Putin, and of course the Brazilian president as well. And the front page of the Sowetan, same picture as the Citizen, with the three heads of states on the front page there at the BRICS summit. And of course, this other story, credit card lady linked to another death. This is an interesting one. Another man's death has been linked to a woman who is alleged to have gone on a shopping spree with a dead doctor's credit card. Both men died in mysterious circumstances. Police suspect the man found dead in the car was poisoned. So that's the story that they are having on the front page. And then we've got the business day. The business day. Anglo is not going anywhere, says CE. No intention of selling assets in South Africa, and the policy framework starting to move in the right direction. Anglo-American, no intention selling South African assets, while welcoming the improved mining charter. Mark Kutafani said the industry would come up with innovative suggestions to make it more palatable to investors, communities and labour. So that's the word out of Anglo. Those are your front pages of the newspapers this morning. And go out and grab a copy if any of those stories jump out at you. So, as I promised you, let's move on to our interview where we're talking former President Jacob Zuma. He is expected to return to court this morning. He had his first appearance on the 6th of April over 16 corruption and money laundering charges related to the arms deal. Now, his trial has been postponed twice, with his defense indicating that they plan to submit an application to review the case. Now, this time he'll be represented by a brand new defense team, a new criminal advocate, Mike Hellens, after his longtime attorneys, Michael Hulley and Kemp are reportedly no longer part of his legal team. To discuss this, we are joined by political analyst and senior researcher at the Gqeberha Institute for Research and Development, Xolani Dube. Xolani, thank you. Good to have you on the program. Welcome.
Morning, Liana, and morning to the viewers at home.
All right, Xolani, let's talk about what we can expect today. I mean, many people suspecting that there's going to again be called for a postponement in it so that the new team, the new legal team, can come to grips with the case. What do you think will happen today?
I think the approach is what you call it a standard ground approach, where he fights in all spaces that he thinks that he can accumulate some kind of victory. And so it is, as I said, it is kind of a good move for him to approach the court for postponement due to the new legal team, so that the new legal team can have a full briefing. And so I think, as I said, it's appropriate for him to take that particular approach. But, you know, Jacob Zuma, he will always come with the Stalingrad approach until he concedes or what already he wants to achieve, of which is to be fined, not to be guilty, or for the case to be declared that he is very unfair and he won't see justice if it proceeds.
So let's look at what's happened with his legal team, because obviously we saw Michael Hulley, Kemp, Kemp, they are no longer there. They've been by his side for many, many years, you know, being called friends and confidants, and reports suggesting that former President Jacob Zuma just cannot afford their legal fees anymore, and he's now got a new team that's representing him. Talk to us about this new team. What do we know about Mike Hellens?
Look, Mike with JZ, they come far, as you know, and everyone knows very well. And I guess the issue of the dry funds, it might be the factor, but maybe on the other side, there might be underlying factors that we as the public might not know yet. But time will tell what really made him to part ways with his confidant, the person that has been with him for inception of his legal issues. And so I think time, as I said, will tell, and as a public we shall wait and hear the truth behind the departure or the departing of Michael.
Okay, now we obviously are seeing, we crossed to our reporter Ayanda Mhlongo, who is outside the Pietermaritzburg High Court this morning. Already talk of a night vigil that's been held, support growing for the former president. And yet we still get calls from the new sort of leadership within KwaZulu-Natal saying, look, let's just back off a little bit and not show as much support as we have in the past. What do you make of the support for Jacob Zuma?
Look, I think Jacob Zuma is one of the most tactician, and he's kind of a guy that always apply in politics what we call it Machiavellian maneuvering. And look, the new PEC that is recently elected, I don't think that they will ever match the skills as well as the strategies that JZ possess when it comes to attracting the people of KwaZulu-Natal to be on his side. And bear in mind that JZ, by nature, is a very charismatic leader, and he fully understands the cleavages that are existing in our society. And he has managed to craft and curve himself within a particular constituency. And that constituency are those who feel that the current economic system is not doing justice to them. The so-called the condemned of our society, the people who are unemployed, the people who still have a hope that something might happen to their life. And so they look at JZ as that particular individual. And also bear in mind that he's in KwaZulu-Natal, and there is this a kind of a very uncomforting discourse in our politics when it comes to KwaZulu-Natal, a concept of Zulu nationalism that now and again people feel that JZ is riding in its wave crest of Zulu nationalism. And you know, number of our political leaders, they always invoke such kind of Zulu nationalism if they encounter the political situation that put them into a corner.
Yeah. So if we look at the issue again of funding, because I know that that's always been a bit of a problem, and yet the state has confirmed that it's going to be carrying the cost of the legal fees until a court decides otherwise. Does this somehow lessen the burden of the current situation?
Look, the president has made a commitment on behalf of the state that they will look after Jacob Zuma's finances when it comes to the court cases and so forth. But the reality is the issue of money the real issue when it comes to JZ, or for JZ is to be acquitted from these court cases. And on the other side, if JZ is being found that is not guilty, what are the implications that he is going to have to the ANC as well as to the government? Because a number of people, they have branded him as someone who's corrupt. And now if the court of the South Africa say this man is not corrupt, I think his supporters within the ANC will storm some of the conferences or some of the ANC gathering to say, you have victimized Jacob Zuma without evidence.
Yeah. Let's take a very quick break. I want to come back and then just touch a little bit on the fact of what his defense may go in the direction of, and perhaps talking about, will he get a constitutionally fair trial? And that's pretty much, I imagine, what his team are going to be focusing in on. We'll take a quick break, we'll come back and we'll touch on that. Do stay tuned.